I was much happier playing the maid who came on in Act 3 with a funny voice and sort of stole the show and things like that.
Behind the bar.
Yeah, the top behind the bar. Yeah, exactly. A role I've had many times. Thanks for pointing that out. But now again, it's okay. It's okay to want those parts. You know what I mean? And my heroines were always talking earlier about Pat Coombs and Irene Handler and people like that. So I do find it liberating in lots of ways. But obviously, it isn't nice to look in the mirror. But luckily, there's always surgery.
I think you're right that if you.
That's true.
I think you're right that if you've got a long-term partner who adores you and still finds you attractive and everything else, then it is different. If I was out there on that whole dating scene, I wouldn't like that at all. And suddenly all the bits that have gone south.
Well, because you know what the other thing is, Fiona, is because you become invisible. Well, you totally become invisible after a certain age.
I think your personality means more when you're older.
Yeah.
Because that's all you've got left.
I think I'm really lucky because I live with my mother, and she's 78 this year. And she's still fantastic. Yeah. She's out there. She's out every day. She looks fantastic. And I'm glad I've got her as my role model.
And age, if you let people age gracefully, it's actually beautiful. I've, you know, my mum was ill.
Well, not too gracefully, Fiona. There's a limit.
You should age gracefully, Fiona.
You're not going to have surgery.
Well, we have already a little bit.
No, I know you have.
And she
I didn't know you had.
Just a little bit there.
She's 75, Fiona.
Don't bring me into it again.
Sorry. No, we have. No, you made me do it.
I did. To be honest, that's it.
Have you as well?
Yeah.
I didn't realise
It's
that.
you next.
It's me next.
Yeah, it's good stuff though, don't worry. We'll hold you hand.
Talking of still working at a certain age, Dame Diana Rigg is waiting to come in, but before she gets loose with us, first, look who's here tomorrow. No, I can't get over it. She is a multi-award-winning star of stage and screen, with credits including the iconic role of Emma Peel in The Avengers. She's the only woman ever to marry James Bond too, but after 5 decades, our final guest today shows no sign of slowing down. She's soon to open in a new adaptation of Noel Coward's Hay Fever, but before we meet her, let's take a look at the chilling portrayal of the sinister Mrs. Danvers. It won her an Emmy in Rebecca.
It's no use, is it? You'll never get the better of her. Even if she's dead, she's still mistress here. She'll always be the real Mrs. De Winter. Why don't you leave Mandalay to her? He wants to be alone with her again. It's you that should be dead. Why don't you jump? It's easy. It wouldn't hurt. Jump. And have done with it. And you won't be unhappy anymore.
Please welcome Dame Diana Rigg. Welcome, indeed. It's your first time on Loose Women.
It is. And do you know, I've not seen the show before. Oh. And the reason I came on was because of its title. I'm there with you, girls.
We love that about you.
Oh, yeah.
In what way specifically, Dame Diana?
Well, I just thought, you can talk about anything.
Yeah.
Anything and everything.
Absolutely anything. Yeah. And women, I think, are much more candid than men. I mean, I think we've got the ability to be more truthful about ourselves.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's one of the reasons why we're probably rather better than men, aren't we?
Well, if you ask a man a question, he won't tell you the answer. But if you ask a woman, she'll tell you the truth whether you want to hear it or not.
Well, absolutely.
Quite right.
And also that thing about being able to talk about your emotions freely and openly and not be ashamed of them.
And as you get older, we were talking about this just a moment ago, do you find that more liberating? Does age make you feel more liberated, do you think?
Do you know, I was listening to you girls, and you are girls in comparison with me. I was listening to you before I came on. You were talking about how horrible old age is. Well, old age is no joke, and I'm an old age pensioner. But how you you approach it is really what matters. And do you know, from time to time, I look at my arms and that kind of...
Bingo,
and I kiss myself.
You kiss yourself?
I do, because my body has served me really well.
Absolutely.
And I say thank you to it from time to time. And you must. I mean, what's the alternative? Hate yourself?
No, you're right.
I mean, be ashamed of yourself?
No,
Why?
I know.
What is your secret, though, Dame Diana? What
My
is
secret?
Yeah, for keeping young. You're so vibrant. Look at you. You're fabulous.
Well, I had an eye operation when I was 45. I had the eyes jacked up. But since...
that's what we had.
Yeah, but since then, I don't do Botox and I don't do exercise. Actually, I don't do exercise. And I think the secret is being curious. I think the secret is finding all sorts of things in life which are interesting and pursuing them. And I really believe that the brain is the secret to keeping young and looking young.
What about a bit of red wine? That's good for the brain.
Yeah.
You guys?
Very good for you.
Yeah, it's very good.
And fly fishing.
Yeah, I fly fish.
Red wine and fly fishing.
Yeah, not at the same time.
I don't know that.
And talking about keeping your brain active, well, you're certainly doing that. About to open the Chichester Festival in April the 9th, I believe you open.
I think it's about the 16th, or maybe the 9th.
In hay fever.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a wonderful part.
Brilliant.
And she's a monstrous woman. And I love her.
Why do you love her?
Well, she's so rude to everybody.
Is this a comedy part
It's
that
a comedy. And I don't normally do comedy. I normally
different.
play monsters. I mean, real, like Mrs. Danvers.
And I nearly jumped myself when I saw that.
Have you found that you have got better roles as you've got older, or roles that you would consider to be better roles?
Oh, yeah, because when I was young, I was given, you know, all those glamorous things, and I was always 2 steps behind the leading man. It was so boring. And then as I got older, I started playing really meaty parts. And it's been wonderful. From 50 onwards has been absolutely wonderful.
Oh, hope yes.
See?
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say. Keep on trucking.
Yeah. Isn't that's really inspirational, isn't
I love
it?
it. Well, can you just tell me, I'm sort of digressing, but it's just something that I heard that you did, because we were talking about sex and babies.
Yeah.
Why did you throw all your contraceptive pills out of the Hilton Hotel?
Well, I was there making a film, and I got bored, frankly.
Okay.
And I thought, oh, how about getting pregnant instead?
Just like that? Did you have a man there at the time?
Oh, no, definitely. I had the man whom I subsequently married with me. Oh, no, that was all cut and dried.
You weren't that bored.
I didn't drag room service.
Just called out.
Yeah, room service.
But you did get pregnant.
I got pregnant.
Yeah.
It was absolutely wonderful.
And that's your daughter?
And that was my
Rachel.
girl, Rachel, who is also on the stage and shortly to be in your screen. There's a photograph of her there. Yeah.
Well, do you think you were maternal anyway, or was it just that you wanted to have a baby there and then? But
Oh, I think it was the fact that I was passionately in love, that I thought, oh, there's got to be something better than turning up on a film set at 6:30 in the morning. Well, what I didn't know, of course, was turning up by the crib side at 3:30 in the morning. Yeah.
And it's for life. It's
And
not
it's
just
for
a little
life.
baby there.
No,
and then.
I know.
And you really seem to be the epitome of someone who's happy without a man in their life as well.
I am. No, you have to be really careful not to sound defensive under these circumstances, because no doubt there are a lot of women sitting there who've been married for ever and been terribly happy, and I must say I congratulate you.
Yes.
I did not succeed in marriage, but I really admire people who have done, because I know somewhere along the line there's been compromise, sacrifice, sadness, all sorts of things. So I congratulate you guys, but I am and have been for a very long time incredibly happy by myself.
And could you do with a man in the house again? What about all the mess?
No.
I couldn't be doing with it. Would you coming in?
Would you still be up for a bit of room service?
No problem.
you.
As long as when I've given him the tip, he knows when to go.
Dame Diana Rigg, that is the most brilliant point at which to leave it. Thank you very much indeed. You can see Dame Diana Rigg from April the 9th at the Chichester Festival.